Hey, today we are counting down top 10 anime like Solo Leveling. So if you're a fan of Solo Leveling and want to watch more stuff like Solo Leveling, then you are up for a ride. Then, coming at number 10, we have Sword Art Online. If you like the game-like mechanics of Solo Leveling, then you should definitely give Sword Art Online a try. It is really centered around the gaming mechanics and character leveling up, becoming stronger, and eventually becoming one of the most OPest characters in the series. And he starts off as an underdog where no one really knows who he is, but eventually garners fame as he levels up and becomes one of the biggest players of the game. And that's it. So if you're a fan of game like mechanics, then definitely give Sword Art Online a shot. Next up, we have Isekai Cheat Skill. So if you're a fan of an useless protagonist eventually becoming stronger and becoming a Chad in real world, then you should definitely give Isekai Cheat Skill a shot. It is an okayish funny isekai where the protagonist gains a cheat skill which allows him to level up in real world and in the fantasy world. So if you are a fan of protagonist suddenly becoming the most powerful protagonist, then you should definitely give Isekai Cheat Skill a shot. Next up, we have Hell's Paradise. So if you like a dungeon crawler series where like the protagonist kills monsters and he's OP, then you should definitely give Hell's Paradise a shot. The story is centered around a few characters going on an island, killing monsters. It is really similar in that aspect to Solo Leveling, where the protagonist and hunters are trying to kill monsters for a certain goal of sort. I won't spoil much on the series because it's a really great watch and the story is as much as interesting as any other series. So if you got time, definitely give Hell's Paradise a shot. Next up in the list, we have Black Clover. So if you're a fan of series where the protagonist is underestimated and is treated like shit because he doesn't have any spectacular power, then Black Clover is up your fucking alley. This is the real underdog story where Black Clover ticks many checkboxes like gaining a power that nobody in the world has, becoming one of the most powerful mages in the society, and the underdog story, the fights, the overall mechanics, hunting demons, monsters, whatever. The fights are hype, the protagonist is great, the characters are lovable, and lot many things. So if you got time, a decent chunk of time where you could spend like 180 episodes watching a series, definitely give Black Clover a shot. Moving on, we have Seraph of the End. So if you like an protagonist who gains a power and is in a calamity driven world where monsters constantly attack humans and the humanity is driving closer and closer to extinction, then you should definitely give Seraph of the End a shot. It's really similar to Solo Leveling in many aspects, but I won't really dive deep because it's spoiler for both Solo Leveling and spoiler for Seraph of the End. But if you want a sneak peek of how Solo Leveling will eventually move, then give Seraph of the End a shot. It's a great series. Next up, we are moving on to our top 5 series. Next up, we have Chivalry of the Failed Knight. If you're a fan of a weak protagonist dominating the world, then you should definitely give Chivalry of the Failed Knight a shot. The protagonist has this unknown power which he uses to dominate tournaments, people, whatever. I don't give a shit. It is a great series and it's really similar to Solo Leveling in many aspects. Like OP protagonist is treated as the weakest hunter or the weakest knight. Then he grows up, he levels up, he trains and eventually starts to gain respect of his peers. And It doesn't really have the game like mechanics or the dungeon crawling aspect of the solo leveling side, but overall it's a great series. Next up we have Parasite. So again, if you're a fan of a series where the protagonist levels up because of a certain parasite, he goes from a weak looking guy to a strong looking guy, then you should definitely give Parasite a shot. Parasite is one of the OG series in anime and it's really good. The story is amazing, the characters are great, the writing is great, the world is also amazing, I tell you. So if you're a fan of Parasite, then definitely give it a shot. I rate it a solid 9 out of 10. The overall series, the characters, everything. So if you got time to spend like 24 episodes, then definitely give Parasite a shot. Next up we have Kami no To, or better known as Tower of God. So it is a webtoon based anime and it's okay, it's not that amazing. I'm not really a fan of the series, I can't deny, but it's really similar to Solo Leveling in the aspect of dungeon crawling where the protagonist and his party has to fight monsters. The next similarity is it has very game-like mechanics and they become stronger as they cross different levels. It is also similar in the aspect of a weak protagonist eventually gaining power and becoming stronger and stronger as the time and series passes. Another aspect that makes it really goddamn similar to Solo Leveling is that next up we are moving to our top 2, which might shock you, Reincarnated as a Sword. Then many people will dismiss the series because of the name, right? Reincarnated as Sword. It must be bad, right? It must be a bad isekai. But it's not. It's really not. It's a great isekai where the protagonist and reincarnates as a sword. But the main selling point of the series is the sword isn't the main character. The person who wields that sword is the main character. The protagonist who dies is actually the secondary protagonist and not the main protagonist. The protagonist is a weak, oppressed, because they are called the weakest monsters in the world, and she gains that sword and eventually starts to gain experience as she becomes one of the most respected hunters in the town. It is a great series and definitely worth 12 episodes. I would easily rate it an 8 out of 10. And if you have got time to watch something, definitely give Time I Got Reincarnated as a Sword a shot because it's actually good. And last but not least, we have number 1, Danmachi. A lot of you might have guessed it, might not have guessed it, but Danmachi is really similar to Solo Leveling. It's set up in a fantasy world where you have to level up to become stronger. The game-like mechanics is there. Then you also have to hunt monsters to become stronger. Next, to level up to become stronger. The next thing that makes it really goddamn similar to Solo Leveling is the protagonist starts out as weak and eventually becomes stronger and a Chad and one of the most, and good. It's just good. The characters are great, the world is great, the fantasy element is amazing, and it just keeps getting better. The hero has a power called Hero, right? Which allows him to become stronger, gain experience faster, and just do amazing things. So if you're a fan of game-like aspects, Chad protagonists, leveling up features, definitely give Danmachi a shot if you haven't watched it. All of the series are taken based on the thinking of how it's similar to Solo Leveling, and I've tried to give you and portray a decent picture of what each anime is. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, you could press the thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, please don't do anything. Or you could comment out suggestions what you want next. I'll be making more such videos. And if you're an old-time watcher, thank you for dropping by again. I really like you. Thank you. And I'll see you next time. Anime Rookie signing out. Bye bye. If yeah, click this video. Click this video. This is a really good video. Click this video. 100% like click this video. Really good. Like amazing masterpiece. Thank you.